7th, 2021, and I welcome everyone in this room this evening and those of you who are watching us virtually or who will watch us later on. We're going to begin our meeting with, I'd like to call this meeting to order, first of all. Then we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Sampson, if you'd like to lead us, that would be great. And then everyone remain standing for the Reverend Dr. Roland Stringfellow from the MCC Detroit.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I invite everyone to please bow your hearts with me. God of light, in this season of light and illumination, we pray for your illumination over tonight's proceedings, that wisdom and kindness and justice would flow. We look towards you in this season of darkness for our direction and our help. So thank you again for all the many voices and peoples and opinions that are here. And I pray that this will be a space where all would be valued and life is affirmed. In your blessed and many names we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, before we sit down, I'd like everybody to remember that today is the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, where 2,400 military people lost their lives from the greatest generation ever. So take a moment of silence and remember them. All yours.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Here.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is approve the agenda. Anyone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that the consideration of the two applicants for the commissions, if we could move that to the bottom of the agenda to give it maybe the time it needs to discuss.
Okay.
And
But-
I'll second that if I can make an amendment to move the list of bills to the end.
Sure, we can do that.
Second. Or you second it, right?
Pardon?
Second the amendment.
Okay. Want to vote on the amendment?
Sure. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Okay, so consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, as presented. Minutes of the special city council meeting held on Monday, November 22nd, 2021, as presented. Minutes of the special city council meeting held on Monday, November 29th, 2021, as presented. Accept the resignation of Michael Warren from the Board of Review. And I would like to add that I believe Mike has served on that board for over 10 years, so we definitely want to say thank you to him for his service. He and his wife are making different plans in life at this point, so thank you, Mike, for that. The next thing is department reports from November 2021. And that will cover the consent agenda. We are then moving the appointment of Andrea Lalonde to the Traffic and Safety Board for a term to expire May 1st, 2022. The reappointment of Laura Nushai to the Planning Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2024, and the list of bills as presented in the amount of $575,343.90 to the end of our agenda. Would anyone like to?
Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented, or with those amendments, I should say.
We got to do the one above first.
Pardon me?
We're going to need to do the
We got
public
to
comment.
move the agenda as,
I always forget public comment. It needs to be bold for me to know that.
So I'll retract my motion.
Okay, hold on to all of that, so we don't have to say it all over again, and then let's open up the agenda, let's open up the floor.
I'll motion to move the agenda as corrected or as modified.
Okay,
Second.
roll call.
Okay. Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to go back. sorry, everyone. Public comments for items on the agenda. If anyone here would like to speak for items that we have on the agenda this evening, please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and discuss.
Susan Moffett, 726 Strand. I want to address the minutes for the council meeting specifically held on November 22nd. The minutes reflect that Councilmember Shepherd makes a motion to ask Magistrate Chisholm to approve or to provide 3 attorney recommendations for the council to review by Monday, November 29th. Upon reviewing the meeting, also at the 1 hour, 17-minute mark, Councilmember Shepherd goes on to say that these recommendations are so that the council can make a decision. The operative word, can, not must. Yet those of us who witnessed the November 29th meeting, Councilmember Shepherd repeatedly said that the body agreed to make a decision from the people suggested by council or by Mr. Chisholm. It was a misrepresentation, a lie, and an attempt to bully the rest of the council. And I believe Mr. Shepherd owes not only the community, but his fellow council members an apology for trying to bully them and to do what he thought should be done and misrepresenting his motion and his words.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Donna Hughes. I live at 476 East. I voted the bottom.
I'm a formal opinion and shall answer to the people because it is unacceptable that you would do that. What was in it for you? Can you answer that, Mr. Shepherd? Can you, Mr. Sampson, or no? What, I mean, why the trickery? Why? You can't answer it, can you? How in the world did you think that was okay? It's ridiculous.
Is there anyone else? Okay, then we will go back to consideration of approving the following consent agenda. I believe a motion had been made, so can we just go ahead and vote on it?
Do we have a motion?
Pardon me?
Do we have a motion?
Didn't we? I thought we got that far.
I'll make a new one. Move the consent agenda be approved as modified.
Second.
Thank you.
Makes it easier for her.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes. Make sure I'm not missing anything. We're on to the next item, which is presentations and proclamations. First thing we're going to discuss, I'm going to ask Nick Stepnitz is going to come before us and give us an update on the Sustainability Committee, which is naturally Clausen. I think we all received a letter from a resident recently who's curious about what the status of this committee is. So Nick is going to share with us where we stand.
So real quick before I talk about the Sustainability Committee, there was a technical difficulty for a moment on YouTube. So everyone that's watching should be back in live, but it looks like it should be figured out by now. So just want to give an update. So in June of 2021, the City of Clausen launched our Sustainability Committee, Clausen Naturally. The goal behind the development of this subcommittee of the Planning Commission is to enhance the way sustainability and resiliency planning is done in our city. The Sustainability Subcommittee will encourage environmental awareness among residents and business partners to help Clausen be environmentally and sustainably conscious. The subcommittee is intended to act in advisory, oversight, and advocacy capacities to the City of Clausen Planning Commission regarding sustainability issues for the short term. Basically, the goal is to develop a framework or outline that will help guide additional planning in the future as time goes on. The goal in the first year is to define sustainability and resiliency, set focus areas for what's important to Clausen, so whether it's energy efficiency and conservation, water and wastewater systems, waste reduction, recycling, topics like that, audit and assessments, And then just develop a general framework for how sustainability is going to factor in Clawson and how we plan moving forward. The Sustainability Committee also just released a survey, which you can find on our website, cityofclawson.com, and it was also posted today on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, which are all at City of Clawson, or you can text 248-422-2800, and just text the word survey, and you'll get the link there, and you can take the brief 10-minute survey, and then we can focus on sustainability in Clawson moving forward. So if there's any questions, I'd love to answer them.
I have a question. Is there an actual committee formed?
So it's not like the general committee, like the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals. Since this is a subcommittee, it's more of an open committee that residents can take part in. So we're trying to get more people involved. I know Mr. Shepard has been there multiple times, as well as a couple other residents. With the survey, we're hoping to get more contact information for people and to get some more awareness.
So should people be interested in participating in this committee, how would they go about that?
You can contact me. And my phone number, you can reach me at 248-435-4500, extension 110.
Is there a link on our website that says sustainability?
Yes,
committee?
there's a ton of information on our website under the Building and Planning Department.
Okay.
It's there on the website under natural, Clawson Natural.
Clawson, yeah.
Yeah, but to get there, you're going to want to go to Departments, Building and Planning,
Yep.
click on there, then it's on the left side. You'll be able to find it.
Do we know how many respondents have been taking the survey?
I haven't contacted Giffords Webster. They're the ones administering the survey. And since it's been out for a couple days, and we just really started our rollout, I imagine not a ton of people, but hopefully everyone in this room is taking it right now as I'm finishing up talking.
I hear.
So.
Yeah, we've not had a lot of participants. We did early on, but it's kind of dwindled down to myself and one other person. But we really appreciate the efforts that you and Giffords Wetzer has put together for that. It's been great to see the survey come out with the detail that's in it. I think it's really important that we all take the time to answer those questions. It'll be very valuable for our feedback on how we move forward. And we've got some other things coming up this next year, some activities that we'd like to have everybody participate in. But thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have a presentation on our water rates from our Finance Director, Kelly Rao. Now, I believe we've discussed the water rates several times, but again, a resident requested information on why our rates are as they are, and I thought it would be a good idea to have Kelly come back and provide that information one more time so that anybody who has questions can maybe get their questions answered.
So I did provide a presentation, a repeat presentation to council. It's in the packet. I updated the average monthly billing for the communities, surrounding communities. Average monthly billing for the city of Clawson, effective July 1 of 21 rates, is right around $123 for average monthly bill. The average monthly bill for all of the communities is $123. So we're right at the average for 13 communities. Just a brief summary regarding water rates. Clawson purchases its water from SACWA, which is Southeastern Oakland County Water Authority, which in turn purchases the water from Great Lakes Water Authority, or GLEWA. SACWA maintains the water mains that connect the communities that make up SACWA to GLEWA's water mains. The cost of treated water from SACWA increased 1.3% from the prior year. The city maintenance cost, which would be personnel, various contractual costs, increased 3.54% as a result of the personnel and contractual costs. Depreciation decreased 37.58% from the prior year. There was no additional infrastructure or capital improvements approved in the budget. Those are the costs that make up the water rates. Overall, the water and sewer rates increased by 2.99% from the prior year. And these water and sewer rates are council-approved rates. If you want to go a little bit further into the sewer rates, the stormwater rate increased by 8%. That rate is set by the Oakland County Resource Commissioner, or the WRC. The sanitary sewage disposal rate increased almost 25%, and those are the Coon drains, also set by the WRC. City operating and maintenance costs, which are associated with personnel and contractual costs, increased 1.5%, and the depreciation cost associated with the sewer rate had no change at all. Fixed cost for sewer, it remained the same, as well as the water SACWA fixed charge increased, or that is not right, but it went from $15.88 to $16.19.
Does anyone have any questions?
I'm looking at the packet. Where is this information that you just said?
I ran this right before the meeting, just to give a little bit more additional detail.
Okay, so if I look back at what you had, and again, I appreciate that the explanation on the water rates is a previous presentation. How much has changed from the previous presentation?
The only thing additional is the graph, as well as, I think I added the 2020 rates, just as comparison,
Okay.
both years.
Okay, thank you. And then for water charges on the next page after the explanation on the water rates. So if I'm looking at this, right, is again, you have a chart here, this is 2018-19 through 2021-2022. SACWA rate charge.
Correct.
Okay,
That is
so-
set by SACWA.
Okay, that's fine. So that, and again, you explained there's percentage that increased and so forth. I imagine that they have something that's available, that's public, that we can take a look at?
They provide it to all the municipalities. It's in this folder here.
Okay.
I
Is that
can also
something that?
provide you a copy.
Okay. Is there a way to have that be published so that's available on the website so that we know
Sure.
that? Okay.
Sure. SACWA has it, as well as WRC.
Okay, maybe just a link to that?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Okay. And then, so that's the next two items. So the water operating and the maintenance expenses, that is set by us, right?
Correct.
Okay. So these are numbers. How do we get to 1280?
So these numbers, we would take the budget requested and/or adopted. Usually it's a requested because it hasn't been adopted before the rates are set. And then there's either divided by the expected units to be purchased, units of water to be purchased, which this current year is 36,339 units, and that is also comes from SACWA. So that's the estimate that they provide us each year of what they expect us to purchase. So then that number is divided into the total eligible cost of whether it's personnel or supplies or some other type of contractual service.
Okay, so that's just water that's being bought, is that?
Correct.
Okay, there's nothing else that's in those numbers other
No.
than this is the amount that we expect you
There
to?
may be some adjustments as far as what revenue we expect. If there's any interest income or charge for services, that reduces our cost that's included in that rate.
So for operating and maintenance, is there anybody that's charged as a head to these rates, or how does that work?
I'm sorry.
Do you have anybody that's that there's a work that's being done, that's being charged to this? It's not just water that we're buying, right?
There's consultants, there's
Okay.
personnel, there's fringe benefits,
Okay.
Materials and supplies.
Can we see that rolled up into these numbers?
I can provide it at a later date, yes, absolutely.
I guess-
There's multiple spreadsheets and.
Sure, and I appreciate
yes.
that. I guess what I'm looking at is that
Absolutely.
I see numbers, and I don't necessarily see what's going into them
Yeah,
to come
I
to this.
mean, the numbers are basically the budget.
Well, I appreciate
But
that.
yes, I can provide more detail.
Okay. And, it's not as much as, obviously the water depreciation expense. Well, again, I'd like to see that explained as well, but 41 cents versus 13
Yeah,
bucks.
yep.
Okay.
The numbers you're going to provide, are you going to show us how you got to that 1281 or whatever it is number?
1281.
What was the number?
1280 for 2021,
If it's part of,
2022.
yes.
Yeah, I want to see how you got there.
Absolutely.
Is that part of the,
I would have taken.
people too?
Yes, absolutely.
so can you give us a spreadsheet that shows how you got there?
Yes, that's part of the budget, and whatever staffing and consultants are included within that budget, I can provide, yes.
Yeah, I see it, your document, and then we had a document on May 14, 2018, are pretty much identical, except for you dropped off all the sewer. But back then, it was $18 per quarter per resident. That's the water rate. Now we're at the water rate of 14.71. That brings the first question up to me is, why is my water bill a lot more?
I don't know. I would have to see your water bill.
No, I mean.
The rates are.
For both of these.
The rates are based on what the city council adopted.
Yeah, well,
So if the schedule that I prepared back in May, there may have been a rate change between May and from what the city council adopted.
Yeah, I was just confused because at water rate of 18 back in,
I'd have to go back and look
this
before I can
was
respond.
May 14th, 2018. Now it's down to
2018?
14. Yeah.
Oh, I
This
don't
was
know.
written- this
I'll
was
try to
written-
locate
yeah.
that.
Yeah, see, this one was written by Pollock.
I can locate
And this one's
that.
written by you.
The spreadsheet that I
I'll give you a
have,
copy.
the spreadsheet that I have includes rates for several years prior to
Mm-hmm.
current year, so I should be able to find it rather easy.
Okay, can we bring that back one meeting or two? And go over it again?
I can email all the information, and if you still have questions, then we can have a meeting, or it's up to you.
Are we going to vote on it today?
There's
Is
nothing,
there-
this is
there's
just a
none?
presentation.
Okay.
But it goes back to just understanding what the numbers
Yeah.
are. So, yeah, I would appreciate that, so that if we do need to have something to follow up on, because obviously, walking into this and seeing what we have, I'd like to feel more comfortable, if we do have something that's coming up, right, that we're prepared and understand what the background was for it.
Sure.
Right? So, okay.
Anyone else? Okay, Kelly, thank you, but don't go anywhere. Next thing on the agenda is public hearings,
Almost
and
got away.
as we don't have any, we won't make her go back and come back up, right? Unless you feel like you need to take a walk, Kelly. If you do, walk back and come back up, because then we're going to be talking about new business, which first thing is consideration of approving the budget amendment number 1 to adjust revenues and appropriations of the General Fund 101, ARPA Fund 276, and the Water and Sewer Fund 592. And Kelly's going to tell us what ARPA stands for so that we are within our requested comments earlier about identifying these little initial letters only.
The ARP stands for American Rescue Plan Act.
Thank you.
ARPA. So this budget amendment is a resubmission from, I believe we originally submitted it last month, beginning of November, I believe. What it is doing is recognizing additional revenue that we have received in general fund. It is recognizing expected revenue to be received in the water and sewer fund for the IWC charges. I believe that was $54,000. It is also realigning the ARPA funds. They were originally budgeted in the general fund as a holding number, because at the time the budget was adopted, we did not know how much that was going to be and when it would be distributed. So the state of Michigan has recommended it be put into Fund 276, separate from general fund. It's a little bit easier to track. Also, part of the budget recognizes revenue from the police auction revenue. It realigns some of those additional revenues into some costs that have went over budget, or will go over budget for postage for the elections department, different supplies, additional costs for the city attorney, for Michigan Tax Tribunal, and some adjustment for the fire department pension. For the budget also included costs that were to pay for municipal analytics, as well as the OPEB valuation that is required for the audit. The budget amendment also includes the cost of the GovHR for the city manager search. So the contracts were approved by council, however, there was no funding recommended at the time those contracts were approved. So that is included within this entire budget. Let's see, I believe there is, I think that's it. Oh, and it also puts funding in for IT services if and when there's a IT contractor approved.
Does anyone have any questions?
And one last note, I mean, you do have the option to approve one or two of these line items, and I could adjust it at a later date. Some of the items are necessary if we want to pay our vendors, so just putting that out there for you.
John Kaiser from Municipal Analytics, I believe, call in if anyone has questions on the additional information that was provided in the packet. He should be online if someone's got a question that needs to address him outside of Kelly. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Anyone? have
I
any
got a
questions?
question. Why do we show the rescue plan in our 2021 budget, or 21-22 budget? We aren't going to expend any money this year for it, because we don't even know what we're doing with it. And then next year, so it's going to work out between the two budgets, where it'd be $1.2 million higher in the budget than we really are. So why would you put it in?
It is the Uniform Budgeting Act and GAP. We receive the revenue, so we have to recognize it as a budget. That does not necessarily mean that we need to spend it or will spend it, but you still have to adjust the budget accordingly.
I know you have to track it, but why would we put it on the budget?
You have to adjust the budget accordingly because we have the revenue.
Tell me again, the unallocated grant expenditures, what are they? Are the two of them on there?
The unallocated grant, when the council originally adopted the budget for 21-22, we had a $1.2 million expected grant for the ARPA funds. We had put it in the general fund, but because the state of Michigan is suggesting that it be in its own fund, 276, and we are only getting half of that in the year FY22, the fiscal year. That's the 600,000 or 500,000. That's what that particular amount is. It is in unallocated expenditures because council or city manager have not allocated any of those grant funds. So it's going to sit there because we need to do a balanced budget amendment, and that would be the balanced budget amendment.
Okay, the last page, the IWC charges. One's revenue and one's, what's the settlement mandate? What was that?
That's the August 11th flood. There's a mandate, and Rennis may be able to provide some assistance. I know we have to keep a certain amount in one of the accounts.
What do we use that 54,000 for?
So it should be $50,000, and it's spread over, that's pursuant to the flood litigation that occurred a few years back, starting in 2014 or 15, whenever that was. It was settled sometime last year. As part of the settlement, all the communities had certain dollar amounts that they had dedicated to improvements of their sewer systems. Clausen's portion was $50,000 spread over 2 years, $25,000 per year, and that's, I think, what that reference.
Why wouldn't you say 25 then?
I'm sorry?
Why wouldn't we be at 25 on one of these two? Why the whole 50,000?
Well, we did get we did not appropriate 54,000 in revenue for IWC charges. That was that came at a very last moment after the budget was already prepared. So that is a correction of the 21-22 budget. The 54,000, it can go into contracted repairs. The DPW and Water and Sewer Department use that account for many things, so they will use it for any type of repairs. And they can use it even though we only have to budget 25, they'll use it. I don't know where Trevor's at, but I'm sure they'll need it for some type of repairs.
Okay.
How was the IWC charges calculated?
The IWC charges come directly from I'd have to look, WRC or one of those acronyms, but it's directly, I think, is Trevor here? What is it? WRC.
Okay.
So it's a flat rate that they charge based on the meter size and based on the commercial entity, and we just pass that along to the same rate based on meter.
Okay, we have monthly charges that we also list in our packets. I went back to, I think it was the
Yes.
meeting in November that said that from September 1st to September 30th, we had $3,000 or $3,070 that were IWC
That we paid
charges.
IWC, for
Yeah.
IWC, that is correct.
Okay, all right, so is that,
We get the revenue, and we also charge the 290 some customers.
okay, but is the $3,000, is that low, is it high?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's right about what we've paid for the past several years.
I'm trying to circle how the $54,000 comes out of $3,000 for 1 month, and whether or not $3,000 is usual for the year for each given month, and whether or not, we go from $36,000 to $54,000 for IWC charges.
I would have to go back and look at the bills, but I think they're the same every month.
Okay, so that means that we've got,
So it's a certain number of customers, I believe the number is 293 customers, based on their meter size,
Okay.
they're charged a specific amount.
okay, but
So it's a one-to-one.
But like I said, I've got $3,000 from a meeting with that charge.
I'm not going to answer that, I'll have to go back and
Okay,
look to see.
okay, all right. You understand my concern. I've got $18,000 that I think
Yes,
is
yes.
here, which, based on previous.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Okay.
Earlier, we had talked about the reimbursing, I don't know, one of the funds, Rennes could probably help on this, but there's like $695,000 that over 10 years we've been not budgeting right or not putting in the right column. What are we doing with that? How are we going to correct it or reimburse it or,
Oh, you're talking to me?
yeah?
I don't think there's been a decision made on that at this point.
It's just we have no
That's,
idea how the reimbursements are
Still
going to
in
go.
Rennes's hands, I believe. I can't respond to that.
Is it in your
I know
hands?
going forward, we've made the corrections.
Would someone like to provide a little more history for those who are listening and going, why is there $695,000 that people don't know?
I don't know if
That's
that
in the
number is
wrong
accurate,
account.
but I don't know what that number
That's
is.
the last thing I had in notes was $695,000 for 10 years, but I think we're able to do
I
7.
don't know.
Go back 7 years.
Yeah, so I think, Councilmember Sampson, you're referencing, and we have to tread somewhat lightly with respect to this topic. I think you're referencing the sum total of amounts for a period of years that we received in bills from the IWC charges going back a certain amount of years, and that's some sort of a calculated total figure. And you're referencing if we haven't, which I can't say one way or another, but if the billing has been done appropriately going back as opposed to the way that it's being done now. The determination which council had previously moved it come back to you for a decision on that regard. It's not necessarily in my hands, but a decision will have to be made with respect to the issue as to how it is presented to you, so that you may make appropriate decisions going forward.
Can we put that in the agenda down the road here?
I think so.
It'd be kind of a good thing.
I'm
Sure,
sure
we've been talking about 6 months, better than,
I'm sure here's the difficulty for your purposes. We get a total bill for IWC charges. As I understand the difficulty, Kelly's going to correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand, the difficulty is not in the concept, in the legal concept or anything like that. Far from it. The difficulty is in calculating a total bill going to these, going backwards into these different size pipes that feed into the meters, these 293 customers. As soon as we have that calculation as to how that should be appropriately allocated, we will be able to have a recommendation for you. I haven't seen that calculation, so therefore I cannot bring forth anything for your consideration.
okay. As long as we put it on the agenda, let's figure out a date someday. Get back to us. I got one easy question. I say to in one document, you got meter size, and then you got a multiplier. So like for a 1-inch residential, it's 1 times.
We're going back to water?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just have to ask this because we're all talking about all this stuff. And he just mentioned that the commercial and all that. Does that mean if you have a 4-inch main, you pay 25 times more?
Residential?
No, it has to be commercial, I think. You don't indicate what it is.
Yes.
You just have
Yes, that is correct. 25 times more.
It confuses me if you use 100 cubic feet, whether you're, a commercial building or a residential, why would we charge 25 times more?
More water goes through.
Pardon?
More water goes through it.
Well, 100 cubic feet at the end is going to be 100 cubic feet at the end, no matter what. If I use 100 cubic feet, if I use, whether it comes through a 4-inch pipe.
I'll do some research and get back to you.
I hope so. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion? I will make a motion. I move to approve the budget amendment number 1 to adjust revenues and appropriations of the General Fund 101, ARPA Fund 276, and the Water and Sewer Fund 592.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Great, thank you. We will be making those budget amendments. Kelly, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of setting a closed session meeting with GovHR to discuss the applicants for the city manager position. Who would like to provide us an update on where we are with the city manager position?
I can give you that information, Mayor and Council. I spoke with Mr. Vetrano today. He's, started, not the interview process, but just like the background on the applicants. So he needs to have a closed session with council to address the candidates for the city manager position. He first requested 5:30 p.m. prior to our next council meeting to make it a one meeting night for council. That would be his first choice. If I explained some members can't make it for a 5:30. He then picked other dates, the 15th, 16th, or 20th, where council would have to call a special meeting in order to address that item. It does have to be closed session because of the request by the candidates to remain confidential at this time, just to move forward in the process.
So where is he in the, you said he hasn't selected candidates, right? So when we meet on that evening, what will the meeting be for? Is he going to?
What he doesn't, what he's breaking it down, and he will explain the whole breakdown, he will explain how many people applied and what he's done to that point and who he thinks should move forward in the process, and that's where he gets the input from mayor and council.
Based on what criteria? What criteria is he using to select these people? Because this started before two of us were on council. So
Whatever is in, I don't know what his criteria is. That was the GovHR packet that I had included. But that's what that closed session, all that can be discussed in that session.
I would like the opportunity to speak with him to give my input on what I might look for in a candidate. And I think it would be fair for Councilmember Anderson to have that same opportunity, assuming that you guys have already done that.
I gave him your information after the election to reach out, and what you did to all of their stakeholders prior to. Did he not contact?
I don't,
He was given your information just like prior to the election. I provided all the stakeholders, council, department heads, et cetera, to him to do phone interviews on what they were looking for. And then after the election, I provided him the election results and contact numbers as well.
okay, then perhaps you could, I guess the contact information is there. I guess I will take it upon myself to contact him.
Did he, okay, Mr. Anderson, he did say, you said he contacted you?
He did. I did not respond. I thought additional conversation be required.
Okay.
Because they were solicited by the previous council, and so.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So what are the dates that you're looking at for, what's our next city council meeting, the 21st?
The 21st is the next council meeting. He said he would need roughly about an hour to an hour and a half for his closed session. So he requested 5:30. That would allow a little bit of a break before your regular 7:30. He said if they did not want to meet prior to that early at 5:30, he could do the 15th, 16th, or 20th. It would have to be a special meeting, and then you would select the time, and he would be available on those dates.
What's everyone's opinion for timing?
We can set another time. It doesn't have to be beforehand. I know that's kind of a tight squeeze for 5:30. Excuse me, in the microphone. 5:30 might be a little tight. So I don't mind having a special meeting dedicated for that. So I'm just quickly looking for my calendar. 15th works.
15th works for me.
Sooner the better, in my opinion.
I don't have a calendar in front of me. When's the 15th? What day is the 15th?
It's Wednesday.
That's not good. I can't do Wednesday.
No?
How about the 16th on Thursday?
That's fine.
You guys don't have anything on that?
Fine.
Okay, so let's shoot for the 16th.
Give me a time. You guys confirm on it, and I will let him know tomorrow.
7?
1900.
Yeah. 16th
Get used to
at
that.
7 p.m. It'll be a special meeting with the only topic of a closed session to meet with GovHR in the process.
Okay, great. Someone want to make a motion that we accept that?
Sure. Make a motion that we set a special meeting for December 16th at 1900 hours to meet with GovHR to go over next steps for city manager.
I'll support that.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Then we will meet on the 16th, Thursday the 16th at 7 p.m. to talk with GovHR to discuss the applicant for the city manager. Hopefully we'll have some good news. Next thing on the agenda is consideration of approving the 2022 schedule of public meetings for city council boards and commissions. A requirement of the Michigan Open Meetings Act is for a governing body to annually adopt a meeting schedule for all boards and commissions which come under the act. I recommend the schedule be approved, posted on the City Hall bulletin board, posted online, and published in the Daily Tribune.
Mayor, I move to approve the 2022 schedule of public meetings for the City of Clawson boards and commissions be approved and posted on the City Hall bulletin boards, posted online, and published in the Daily Tribune.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, those, our meeting dates for 2022 have been approved and will be posted accordingly. Next thing on the agenda would be returning back to the items that we moved, which will be, first, one was appointment of Andrea Lalonde to the Traffic and Safety Board for a term to expire May 1st, 2022. We all received a notice today stating that that there actually isn't an available seat for Andrea to sit on the Traffic and Safety Board for right now. So because she was interested and because she noted this online, I would like someone to explain that, please, for her.
I can go over that.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor. Back in 2017, it was addressed. They were trying to make the Traffic and Safety Board a 7-person board. As time went on in 2019, it was addressed to keep it a 5-person board. On the sheet that was provided by the clerk's office, it does say 7-person board. So when she dropped off, I looked at that sheet. I assumed that we had openings. Councilman Sampson reached out to us today just to question that because he thought it was still a 5-person board. We did some research, and it is still a 5-person board. So we were actually running with 6. 1 dropped off. We currently have 5 on the board. It's full, so there actually is no vacancy for an appointment.
Okay. So just to say this, Andrea I don't know how long she's lived here. She's lived here for quite a while. She has the benefit of being the chair to the Oakland County Road Commission and just an active city resident. So Andrea, since there is no opening on this right now, we'd love to have you serve in another capacity if you are still interested. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, let's see, the reappointment of Laura Nushai to the Planning Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2024. We moved it. Anyone have any comments?
Yeah, I had a question. What's the appropriate number of boards for any one person to sit on?
Is there an appropriate number?
Is there anything specified in the chart? I mean, you've got 5 or 6 different commissions. Could a person really sit on every one?
I don't think there's a number, but some boards, I believe Charter Commission is one, that you can't sit on other boards. So unless it's specifically laid out, I don't think, there's multiple, or maybe not multiple, but over the years, there's been people that served on at least 2 boards.
Okay.
It's hard to get volunteers.
Yes, it is.
We do have some people who are recently interested, so I want to say that because we want to encourage people. There are people who are interested in serving. I think the question came up because you're listed on the ZBA.
Not anymore.
It's on a list. So you're not on ZBA anymore?
No, I resigned.
Okay, all right. So is there a vacancy on ZBA? Does anyone know? For your seat, I'm assuming?
Has been for a while.
Okay. I'm new to this part, so, yeah, okay. And then you're currently on the Ethics Commission as well, so I think that was the reason questions came up. But if there's no more discussion, let's vote to accept his reappointment to the Planning Commission.
I move to accept his reappointment.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate your serving, Lauren. And then the last item that we moved was a list of bills as presented in the amount of $575,343.90. Councilmember Sampson, I'm assuming it's you that has questions?
Yeah. Oh, this is for Kelly. What are the 2 special items? Settlement with bogus and...
Pardon me?
I see 2 special items. One's for settlement for bogus and kindness. PC, what is that one for?
Settlement for who?
It says settlement for bogus.
That's a settlement of City of Clawson versus, or I should say, Matt Hodges versus City of Clawson that council approved.
Oh, was it? Okay. Is this the only payment?
There's, I believe.
No, there's been a
one more,
payment
yeah.
to Matt Hodges.
Correct.
So will there be more?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe
That's
the
the only payment
settlement,
to the attorney.
I believe the settlement had 2 payments to Matt Hodges.
And then one to the attorney?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's one total sum. They opted to select that form of payment.
Okay. I got another one on here, professional services, South Oakland County Water Consulting. What's that for?
I do not know. I'd have to go look at the invoice. It's not Sakwa?
No, it's just South Oakland County, Southeast Oakland County Water Consulting. I've never seen that before.
What's that amount for? I don't have the list of bills in front of me. What's the amount?
Oh, I didn't copy that part down, did I? Hold on a second.
Forget the amount. Trevor may have an idea what that payment is for.
The amount?
Yeah.
4,033, is it the?
South is, southeast.
It's under Water Department, right? So under Department 592? Maybe I'm not reading it right, but.
Okay, I think that is to SACWA to pay for the risk and resilience.
Was it?
The risk and resilience.
Do we have more of them payments?
What's that?
Will there be more of them?
That's the only payment on that, and then we have a ERP that I'm working on right now. SACWA combined all the communities to get a better deal on that. So it actually came in less than they anticipated.
Okay.
What is risk and resilience?
That is a report that I have that I'm going through because I was not a part of that. So once we're done with the ERP, I'm going to talk with the company that put it together and sit down with them and go through it so I can present it. But I don't want to present it without knowing everything on it.
Not even the general what it is? You don't have to give the
A
report.
good amount of it is actually isn't public knowledge.
Okay.
So that's why I don't want to speak on it until I sit down with them.
Okay. Anything else on the budget? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the budget? Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Kelly.
You're supposed to say, Madam Mayor, pay the bills.
That's your line.
Madam Mayor, pay the bills.
Anyone want a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Okay, next thing, I guess we're going to pay our bills, which they're already paid, so yay. The next thing on the agenda would be old unfinished business. Does anyone have any old or unfinished business they would like to address?
We have one.
Should have a list that's
Yeah.
included.
Sure, there's a big list.
Yeah.
So, under old and unfinished business, since there's nothing on the agenda regarding Mr. George's seat, may I ask for an update on what is going on with Mr. George's seat? I had requested that perhaps we bring some more names back and consider selection of a different attorney, see if we can come to that resolution. That wasn't done, so I would like it explained why we didn't do that, and also if we're going to go for a vote, I'd like to know what the process, the cost, the timeline, and the ramifications for that would be. If I could get that information, please.
I can update you briefly, Madam Mayor, and I can speak as to, with respect to why it wasn't done as an agenda item. I think, the indication was to put it under my city attorney report, and then council could make whatever determination it saw fit. And concerning your request to have a list of attorneys, I actually came prepared with a list of all the attorneys that we had separated into municipal attorneys as per your wish. And I was going to have that conversation with you. A few days ago, I was contacted by an attorney, indicated that they represented Mr. George's and had some questions. They contacted my office. So in the meantime, in the last few days, I'd been monitoring the Oakland County Circuit Court page. It appears today Mr. George's did file an action in the Oakland County Circuit Court against the Clawson City Council. I have no information of this. I haven't been served those documents. The city hasn't been served those documents. But he's filed some sort of an action, and I presume it's on the issue of his appointment with respect to the propriety of his appointment. And it's been assigned a judge. We'll have to, the city will obviously respond when we receive the documents and the summons from the court. We'll have to begin addressing those issues. That being stated, Madam Mayor, obviously seeking any independent legal opinion is superfluous at this point because we'll have Judge Kumar, who's been assigned to the case. Ultimately, one way or another, she'll be rendering an opinion on the matter, and that will be the law of the land, so to speak.
And the cost associated with that will be covered how?
It's separate litigation, obviously, so the attorney will bill you hourly for whatever the fee may be.
And are we being, is this reminiscent of our lawsuit of 2 years ago where the city council that they're suing, that he is suing city council, or is he suing the city itself?
I only can speak, I have very little information, obviously. I haven't received the documents. From the Oakland County Circuit Court page, you can see that it's Clawson City Council.
Okay.
That's not to say, sometimes those captions are only what's provided, the first blurb, so to speak. So it could be more parties. I don't know. I won't know. We won't know until we see the documents.
So you're saying that there's nothing that we can do as this body to rectify the situation that Mr. Georges has taken upon himself to say that we are all incorrect and that he is going to take a legal route because he doesn't trust any other process and he just wants to get this rectified, basically. And therefore, whether or not we could come to a conclusion today, which who knows, that it doesn't matter, that now that he's taken the reins back in his hand and his team will be in charge of deciding the fate of that seat and for all of us.
I think the judge will probably be the one that has the fate of making the decision.
There would be no judge had this not happened. I was actually quite proud of Mr. Georges for being so respectable throughout this process, and he has every right, of course, to do what he chooses, but this is a little disheartening to me as a resident and also as someone who's tried to come to a resolution for this. But we will see this process through like we've seen other processes through, and we will deal with it the best we can. So, unless anyone else has any comments regarding this, I guess we'll move to another topic. I would like to open public comment for this at this time, if anyone has anything they'd like to share. As this was a surprise and quite an unexpected surprise, I
And you
guess.
missed the public comments.
We'll go back to that. 'Cause this
So
is on the agenda.
originally, Mr. Nushai said that the citizens were going to have to sue. So this now means we don't have to sue, we don't have to incur the cost, because now Mr. Georges is going to incur the cost,
We'll
correct?
still incur the cost.
Yeah, we'll still incur the cost in the sense of defending it,
Yeah, but we don't have to file the complaint anymore
we
because he
don't.
beat us to it.
No, correct.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I sure hope that a couple of you are very happy with what you've done. Really am.
Hi, it's Karen again. I still think bundling the matter up and sending it to the Attorney General is a good way to go. For one thing, it's free. That's the biggest thing. And whatever happens in circuit court, it's going to end up somewhere. You know, I don't think it would go to Michigan Supreme Court. But if we could get a ruling before he gets a hearing, it might change the whole game.
Thank you.
Good evening, Matt Albrick, 651 Broadacre. Couple things. First of all, the day before Thanksgiving, I had a couple DPW workers come to my home. I had been notified that my water meter had stopped reporting. So I was a little nervous about having it replaced the day before a long weekend, but the DPW workers were professional and did a great job and were very pleasant, and I just wanted to thank them for their efforts there. Last time that I spoke here, I had asked publicly the former mayor, Reese Scripture, why she was not at the organizational meeting. I do want to thank her. She did speak with me about that and offered her explanation, so I did want to publicly thank her for that conversation as well. A couple more things. There are 2 council members here who should be ashamed of their vote on November 3rd. I know now that it's falling on deaf ears, and I don't expect anything to change there. I would love a dialogue with anybody about this rather than a one-way discussion. And then apparently Mr. Georges is not interested in resigning. This isn't about, in my mind, it has never been about what is legal or not. I don't know if it is legal. That is not my decision to make. It very well may be. But this is, I think what happened on November 3rd represents what a lot of folks would consider the worst in politics rather than the best. And as a result, I still maintain that George Georges should resign. Thank you.
As this is for items not on the agenda, I have other thoughts to share. Number one, question, hopefully the city attorney will address it during the attorney's comments, whether or not this lawsuit would go through our insurance again, as the previous lawsuit did, or if Mr. Nushai would be representing the city. It seems that since he's recused himself from the process up until now, it seems most appropriate it would go through the insurance, but I leave that to him to comment. The other comment that I wanted to make is more so that the public knows that last Tuesday, 4 petitions were filed in Oakland County for the purposes of adjudicating the language for the potential recall of Council Member Sampson. That hearing is on Monday to determine whether or not that language is appropriate. And I just wanted to talk about that now so that the public knows that that hearing is taking place and that some of us members, having been so upset by their actions on November 3rd, are pursuing that action. Councilmember Sampson, your number's 343. That's the days until we can file a recall petition for you. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak for public comments for items not on the agenda?
Council, good to see you again. First, I'd like to say thank you to our mayor, to Councilman Shepard, and to Chief for showing up and selling papers with the good fellows. It was pretty cool to see you guys rank and file with us and show up and eat. So thank you very much. Obviously, again, you know, it sucks I had to put pants on to come up here and talk about this, but here we are. So instead of George Georges being resolved amongst us, which would be the civilized thing, it's now going to cost us God knows how much money to go and get a council member to sit there who most people that show up will look at him with disdain, right? The people that like him probably won't show up to support him. So you're going to continue to have a hostile environment, which probably isn't productive to what the 4 of you would like to see happen. It was nice to hear a bunch of yes votes today, right? 4 yeses, yes, yes, yes. That was awesome. And I feel like that was the attitude that we need to make progress here. So I'm just publicly saying that it's a shame that George Georges is going to sue his way into either getting a seat or not getting a seat, instead of you guys just doing the responsible thing and finding anybody else that the 4 of you could agree would do a good job.
Thank you. Oh, before you go anywhere, do you want to come back and share with us about the Santa event on Saturday? Drive-in Santa?
Drive-in, I don't believe that's for me to speak on, but yeah.
Come on.
Sorry. Yeah. Santa Claus is coming to the Clawson Fire Department, and we're going to do a drive-through at the fire department so that anybody would like to give letters or make gift requests from Santa and his elves, that can happen. I don't know the dates and times, but if you look at the Facebook Clawson Fire Department page, they will certainly tell you what time that we'll be doing that. So yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot. I have no.
No, it's good. It's good news. Come on.
So thank you. Oh, and one other thing was we missed a golden opportunity for that 5th vote when Santa was here last Wednesday. He could have helped break the tie, I think. So have a good one.
Thank you. Anybody else?
That event is Saturday the 11th from 12 to 3 at the fire department.
Thank you.
You were going to get that.
So I just wanted to follow up with the technical difficulty that the people on YouTube experienced. Obviously, we don't know what happened here today, but I got an email from a resident regarding the technical difficulty and that they were kind of kicked out of the webpage for a brief period, and that was during the original public comment. So I talked to Merge Live, and they said they aren't sure if it's going to end up rendering into the live video or into the archive video. So with that said, I don't know if those people want to make their statements public again for the public record. But he wanted me to clarify, and so just want to make that comment clear to everyone on YouTube. So thank you.
Would anyone like that opportunity to reintroduce their earlier public comment for the sake of transparency?
Get to introduce myself again. Thank you. My name is Donna Hughes. I currently reside at 476 East Baker. I've been here 20 years. In addition to that, my parents moved here in 1960 and stayed until 1997. I and all my sisters were raised here, graduating from Clawson High School, and then after college educations, we moved on. This is my first foray into city government. As I understand, and for the recording, I did give this statement earlier, so this comment section was for comments on the agenda. As the minutes of the previous 3 meetings are on the agenda, I have a suggestion to make, basically presenting all of this information in a format easier for the public to digest. Suggestion number 1, all acronyms should be followed by the words they represent. I noted that a couple subgroups have accomplished this task. Thank you to those who already include the acronym definitions, and thank you for doing a couple of those today as speeches were continued. Thank you for that. Suggestion number 2, when reading through the agenda, I found that I had to search for other documents that were referred to in the agenda. Then I discovered subfolders entitled Minutes, Wording and Comments, and finally Council Packets. For the uninitiated, this is quite a bit of searching. A suggestion would be to add a link from the agenda to the appropriate, more detailed information. Not all of us are computer savvy. Please help us navigate the system. 2 sentences on my personal backstory. In my previous life, I ran quality and ISO meetings, International Standards Organization, for the largest chemical company in the world. I understand how to make meetings work, come to a consensus, and actually accomplish tasks. One of the reasons attendance at these meetings is not as high as anticipated would be the items on the minutes you were to approve, but of course have been approved since this is a post statement. The continued voting, 2 against 2, motions failing. The definition of insanity as suggested by Albert Einstein is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. You all need to ask yourselves, why would the people you represent want to watch or listen to examples of you banging your heads against the wall with no intention of forward movement or intention of coming to any type of consensus? I have noticed a tiny bit of conceding, which has to happen much more often to come to a consensus to move forward. All of you represent me, yet none of you has asked for my input. I voted the body in. This body represents me. I will not participate in insanity. Thank you.
I really could do this all day long, but I'm going to be a little bit shorter than I was earlier. So again, I'm going to ask, because I know I'm not going to get an answer, but what in the world were you thinking? What was your strategy? And how did you ever think that that would go over in this little community? I mean, at some point, would you like to answer that question so people have some resolve? How many minutes do I have here? 3 minutes? I mean, Mr. Sampson, would you like to know, when you are all scheming, what your intent was? I think we have a right to know. And now you have propelled us into a lawsuit. You know, I Googled Clausen today, and all I got was I had to go to the second page to actually find our website, because that whole search consisted of nothing but nefarious lawsuits against this small city. And you both should be ashamed of yourself. I know you're not, because you don't do these things with integrity. People with integrity don't pull this on other people. I will tell you, no one trusts you anymore. You may think because the numbers have been lower here that people aren't still where they were at the day you stole the election, you subverted the will of the people, but people are still angry at what you've done. We don't trust you. We don't feel you're going to represent us, and you have done nothing but damage this community. And the smug looks on your face, I'll tell you, it's going to be a rough couple years for you, because if you think we're going away, you're wrong.
Hi.
Cheryl Dry, 779 Elmsford. I didn't come here intending to speak tonight, but I feel like the two of you, with your smug looks, completely agree, think that it's just the same people coming up all the time. This is only my second meeting. I'm here because of what you did. And I'm not going to stop coming, because at some point, you're going to have to explain what you did, why you did it, or you're going to suffer the consequences, and we're going to vote you out. We're going to recall, we're going to keep coming. So either explain it, why you did it, why George George's is the be-all, end-all of that seat, but something, let us know, because it's ridiculous. And what I'm here to tell you is that I'm a fresh face saying this, because I think maybe you're thinking, oh, it's just the same 4 or 5 people who came up here and they're complaining. No. Everyone I talk to in the community, they're angry, they're upset. They may not come here, and they may not be sitting in these seats, but they are. So it's not just this room, it's the community. Make it right.
Okay, if that's it, last call. That will finish public comment for all comments for the evening, and we will go to our city attorney for a report.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I had the one item that we already addressed, obviously, but I'll address the couple of points that were raised by the gentleladies. Obviously, Councilmember Moffitt is correct with respect to the recusal. Citizen Moffitt. Number 5. Ms. Moffitt is correct. My recusal obviously continues, so I wouldn't be able to represent council. So yes, it would go the way that you've outlined. With respect to the Attorney General opinion that the gentlelady raised, there's 2 paths that I'm aware of that will make any such consideration to the Attorney General. One path would be if Mr. George's head stayed on the seat. The matter would be referred to the Attorney General, who would then bring a writ of quo warranto on the matter. That's path number 1. Path number 2 that I'm aware of is if this were a novel legal issue, a complex legal issue, or an unsettled legal issue where the Attorney General would opine on it. It is not. There's nothing unique, novel, or out of the ordinary about this issue. It's something simple, and there's plenty of law around the issue. So with that, in my mind, there's nothing to submit to the Attorney General. That said, it's not limited by me. Anybody can submit the issue to the Attorney General. So if somebody feels differently, obviously I arrive at this conclusion as an attorney. If somebody feels differently, they're of course entitled to submit the same, and the Attorney General may take it up or may not. One of the main ways that I know for the Attorney General to do so, usually they don't take it from individuals, they take it from the representatives of that particular jurisdiction, be they the state representative, typically state representative, or the state senator. So those are 2 of the ways. With that, I think I don't have anything else unless you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions for our lovely attorney today? No? Okay, city manager, it's your turn.
I have nothing more to add unless council has any questions or concerns for me.
Anyone? Okay, any city council comments? Mr. Anderson, Councilmember Anderson? None? Councilmember Sampson? Mr. Shepherd?
Yeah, it was good to see you out on Saturday.
Thanks, it was fun, wasn't it?
It was fun. Yeah, I think it was a great cause. We appreciate what the fire department does in order to support good fellows. I really appreciated all that you did for that. I didn't realize how dangerous it was standing in the middle of the street, but I survived, and I appreciate knowing that that you guys were there in case something happened. So
It was kind of
Thank
like
you.
playing Frogger, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
So
that was
anyway,
good.
thank you, thank you.
So on a happier note, I just want to, Shar, you have the Clausen the Elf Reindeer Scavenger Hunt. I just want to promote that for the chamber, that you can get information at many of the shops downtown, or contact the chamber. They have this cute little scavenger hunt, and you probably want to go do that. So go do that. It'll be fun with your kids. The Blair Memorial Library has the Giving Tree on display. It's by the main doors now until the end of December. There is a form for patrons to make their donations. Selections are available by the tree and online. There's also Michigan Holiday Season Memories up Grand River Avenue and Beyond, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, the 8th at 6:30 p.m. It's a Zoom opportunity, so if you're interested in that, contact the library. The Wednesday afternoon book club will be discussing The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett on December 15th, online at 1 o'clock. There's also a Take and Make Kit Orange Clove Palmender on Saturday, December 11th at 10:30 a.m. You can get the kits at the library, first come, first serve. A pomander is an orange or citrus studded with a pattern of cloves. Now, doesn't that sound lovely? Who wouldn't want to do that for the holiday, right? Right, and it does smell nice, right? We already mentioned that there's going to be a drive-through Santa at the fire department on Saturday. I think you can still make donations to the Clausen Goodfellows. You could probably look that up online. And I wanted to say thank you to Gina, her staff, DPW, all of their staff, our fire department for very expeditiously bringing Santa Claus to the tree lighting ceremony the other day. Also, thank you to the police department for supporting, and for all of the great decorations that are out on the street and in front of the library and City Hall. Thank you for everyone for doing your part to bring a little bit of holiday cheer to our community. I think it's been a tough year, and any little bit helps, so thank you to all of you. And I have nothing else, so I will entertain a motion to stop this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank you all for attending. Have a wonderful evening.